Barracks. One day we'll be famous for the Barracks. I'm not sure why, but it was an interesting process. So bore me, yell and scream if I'm saying too much. This site was owned by a close friend of mine. In fact, he and I still own a boat together, and we're good mates, John Hazler. And John was a residential property developer, and he had this plan to build, I think it was a 15-storey home unit tower right in the middle of it. And I said to him one day, John, that's absolutely wonderful. I hope you're going to take the penthouse. And he said, I wouldn't live there. There's a railway line right next to it. I said, well, if you won't live there, why would anyone else live there? Sure, it looks northeast over the city, but there's too much noise. It's the busiest railway line in Queensland. Yeah. Well, what are you going to do with it, he said. So I had already had a little chat to Trevor Radcliffe, who had asked me to see if I could do something with this site because it was blocking development to the west of the city. Indeed, Trevor had a scheme for the whole western corridor, as he called it, and his favourite architect was busily drawing drawings to do that. So we asked his favourite architect to help us draw what he would do with the Barracks, and that, of course, was Archifield, and we've had a great relationship since with Archifield, and we do lots of work with them. But in this case, we had to go to our friend John Hazler and say, John, I know you've got a DA, or you think you've got a DA. In fact, what you've got is an order from the state government to take part of your land from you because you've been so long getting it underway. And I'm not being critical of John, this is just the facts of life. John was fighting the government, as John often does. He likes to sue people and believe that he's always right, and he sometimes is. But in this case, when he had the government up against him, we could see quite clearly that the better way forward was a negotiated path out. And we convinced John that we should be doing a commercial-only development, and that we should take into consideration what the government wanted, which was this truncation, or this laneway right through the middle of his site, which has become the mall, which has become the Caxton Street Mall, and in fact an extension of Caxton Street for a pedestrian mall. They wanted that because the Suncorp Stadium was extending and being developed, and it was imperative for traffic movement that happened. If you look from afar and take 2 steps back, you can see that was absolutely imperative. You could see that this site was a blight on the western corridor. It really needed to be developed. So we used that to our advantage, I've got to say, where we said through the Coordinator General's Department of the Government, that they needed to get these heritage people off our back. They needed to ask their own departments to just hold off doing this truncation right through the middle of the site and seek compensation later, whilst we dug a 4-storey car park under it. Could you just hold that for a minute, those bulldozers, while we just build this 4-storey car park over here? And we finally got them to agree a time frame, which then they had to commit to, the time frame that we could build car parks, that we could build podiums, so that we could link in with their car park and their opening of Suncorp Stadium, etc. But then someone objected. The President of the Property Council of Queensland objected to our development. At the time, he had some theatres at Newmarket, and he decided to be a commercial objector. So to the state government's credit, not that I have agreed much with the Labor state government in the past, to their credit, they took it upon themselves and approved the development and took it, I've forgotten the name of the terminology now, but they took it under their wing, and they overruled the objection and got the approval through. So the past president of the Property Council and I haven't spoken since. We've been lauded as the creators of this project, but the truth is it goes back 20 years. John Hazler held that site for 20 years through 3 recessions, through partners going broke, through banks going broke, but he still constantly had this vision that he